Shabbat Shalom Mishpacha, this is the Kohen, and we're here for another wonderful lecture. I believe we're about 3 days away from the Feast of Sukkot, Tabernacles, according to the solar calendar that we follow mostly, and some of us follow the lunar calendar. They're probably on their way, well on their way with these festivals. But those of you who are not, I would encourage you to stick to the solar. It's fixed dates. Dates don't change every year. You don't have to follow a moon, which is a later invention. But either way, as long as you honor the sacrifices, you honor God, you do good. I wanted you to take to my recent exploits. I recently went to a coastal city, Karachi, and spent quite a number of days over there. Now, when it happened, a number of things happened. When I was at the airport in Lahore, I was obviously they wanted to check one of my bags. There's a lot of cables. I carry a lot of cables with my computer, computer plugs and cables, and they always pull up. So this time they pulled up, and the guy said to me to empty the bag, my carry-on. So I took everything out, and he said to me, there was lots of medicines there, other stuff, and it just happened to be that the guy had a stroke, and he was recovering from a stroke. And I had medicines in my bag, a certain kind of vibrator that was very good for a stroke. And he said to me that, oh, this one is really good for a face stroke. And he picked it up, a small bullet type vibrator, and I said, sure. I said, I'm a doctor and I'm an engineer as well. I said, you can have that and use it on your face. I was very happy to keep it. And then he was talking to me about, what do I do with my condition? I'm healing. He said, I'm recovering. What do I do with my condition now? How do I bring healing to it? And I said, well, I have just the right medicine, but it's not available right now here. I have it in America. And he said, oh, I have some relatives in the European side. Maybe I can ask them to bring it. And I said, sure. When I pass through places, if I have the medicine, I give it free. But in your case, maybe you want to approach your relatives. If they can send it to you, great, and that will do the rest of the job. And then he said to me that then there was another guy, an officer, standing next to him, and he said to me, well, why don't you? He goes, that you have access to America. Why don't you get this medicine for him? I said, yeah, sure, I can get it. It'll take a couple of weeks to come through. But I'll have it, and then I can TCS to his address. So the guy was very happy. He gave me his telephone number, the officer's name, and he said, when it comes, if you could please call me here, then I can direct you to which address to send it to. I said, yeah, sure, I can do that. I said, I travel all over the place. When I pass through people that are needy, that are suffering, I usually carry medicines with me, and I give it to them free. I don't charge them. It's a service that I feel on behalf of God, a service to mankind. He said, that's very good. And then they became friends. He exchanged numbers. He just said, you can just pack your bag. There's nothing there. I just packed my bag. And then he offered me at the airport, the two officers, they offered me tea, coffee, drinks, because it's still about an hour in the flight. They said, would you like tea? Would you like coffee or drinks? I said, I'm not really doing this for tea or coffee, but I appreciate it. Thank you for that. But I do have to go and make a few calls. And I said that I have to make calls for your medicine as well and get that in. And then I'll be able to get in touch with you and make it happen. So, what turned out to be just a little bag checkup, turned up into a friendship. And off I went. Got onto the flight. It was a short flight, 1.5 hours. Great flight. Landed. My students were at the other end, expecting me. They came to pick me up. They showed up. They picked me up. They took me home. My student is in knitwear. And knitwear they have their own machines. He had his own 4 machines. So he wrapped up his machines from the room he established for me. He said, I've wrapped up my machines from this room. You're going to stay here for your duration. And I'm going to leave my machines in the second room. I'm not going to do no work. I'm not fulfilling any orders until you leave. He said, the Kohen is here. I've got to do the best for the Kohen. And he was having calls for orders from all shops around him. These big shopping centers, shopping malls, where they sell their stuff. Chase Up, Zainab, Zara fashions, all sorts of fashions. And he just didn't send any orders. They kept calling. He said, well, you have to wait. I have a very important guest. Let me deal with him first. And his objective was to learn. So he gave me his humble abodes. He gave me his humble room. And there was an attached toilet. There was no water from the tap, but they would fill a bucket of water every morning and give it to me. And my breakfast over there was every morning I would get 2 fresh glasses of coconut drink that they would bring in from outside. They're freshly squeezed from coconuts. Then I'll have my hot chocolate and usually my 2 half-fried eggs. I was very happy. I thought, wow, this is wonderful. And so I spent time in that room. Many people came. Those people that were suffering, those people that were seeking answers. And so I was able to relieve the suffering of many people and give answers to many people, and correct their way of praying. Because one thing I noted that because they came from Christian backgrounds, a lot of these people, the way of praying in Christian background is absolutely, totally wrong. So I explained to them that your way of praying is wrong, to change your way of prayer. There was a widow, she came to me, sitting opposite me, and she just lost a son 2 weeks ago, a grown-up son. She had lost her husband 27 years ago, very upset, started to cry. I said, calm down, what is the problem? She said, well, the day my son died, I had not a cent in my pocket for his funeral. Then I came to this man, the man who hosted me. She said, I came to this man, his name was Sultan, and she said, he did everything for me for the funeral and allowed the burial of my son. I said, yes, he's a good man, good family, and God has started his blessing, and his blessing is going to continue. And then as I was there, visiting different people, doing different things, teaching the law, the Torah, the manifesting law to my friend and any members of his family that sat in, because he had some children. He had about 5 children, and sometimes I'll sit in, and I was not lack. They were so good to me. I did not lack cold water. Every time my cold water will finish, they'll bring another glass in, and I'll say, could you please just add a little lime water into it, or a lemon, because I prefer that. Because in this country, a lot of people get kidney stones and stones in their gallbladder. So one thing that I recommend for people who are living in those areas where there's high risk, you must take some lemon drops in your water. Then it will avoid any kidney stones and any gallbladder stones. Pure things that just prevent those things from coming up and save you thousands of dollars of ill health. So when I was there, it was wonderful. I was there one day, a great miracle took place. I was there one day, he brought a glass of coconut drink. He put it on the table. My face was to the side, holding my left phone in my left hand. He was standing facing the wall. And as I looked on the glass cut in half. And then the glass fell in 2 halves, and the sweet coconut water fell on the table and on the floor. And this is a miracle that I have never seen before. And so I showed it to him. I said, well, take pictures, because this is a miracle. I said, this miracle reflects the miracle that Moses was asked to do when he was in Horeb and he was asked by God to speak to the rock, but he hit the rock. But God still gave the water by splitting the stone apart. So this is the same thing. The difference, I said, is that he asked him to speak. I only looked at it and it broke apart. Perfect, clear-cut, clear-cut, half glass. I doubt if anybody's ever seen that. Glasses don't break like that. Glasses crash. They go, pieces. They don't break in halves. This glass broke in perfect half, like an angel cut through it, like knife through butter. And I said, keep this glass as a memento. This sweet water that fell on your floor, on your table, this is your blessing. This shows that what we've said over here is true, and it's going to continue in your life, and you're going to be mightily blessed. And your blessing has already started. The cycle will not stop. It will go from your generation to your generation. It'll never change. Because you hosted the Kohen, you fed him, you clothed him, you looked after him, and God has given you a reward in return as well. So he was very happy, and I then met several other people. I met Christians who came in to talk, from other cities. I sit them down and we had a chat, good chat, and everybody took away something from those meetings. Everyone. And yet, my visit over there was kind of confidential. Only very few people knew about it. Many of the people did not know I was even there. And my host did not tell them because he did not want all these people to turn up at his home asking questions of, most of them knew what the Kohen is, but then they would ask to meet and they will create all sorts of rush and chaos. And he'd have to spend money feeding people and accommodating them. So I said, not this time. This will happen another time. But right now, you're here on a short notice and we'd like to use you for our benefit. So I told them the manifesting law. I told them how to be successful. I told them what different passages in the Torah mean and how the world at large has taken our words, twisted them, turned them, and made them something that they are not. Out of it came Jesus, and out of it came all sorts of other people. But I said that, unfortunately, history does not validate such people as living examples. Jesus is simply a place marker, a marker that you place similar to God. You place a marker called God, and you can have it in your mind, and it could be Jesus, it could be Muhammad, it could be Buddha, it could be God, it could be anybody, it could be Tom and Jerry. But I said, as you put a marker, and you trust that marker, and you apply the law, then the law will be fulfilled. That is a guarantee. The power is in the law. And as you repeat the law with what you want, you will get what you want. So then they took me to the other stores. I needed to do some shopping for the missus. He took me to the other stores that he was supplying. The man, I bought about 7, 8, tops and tights from that man, and he did not charge me. He said, well, I have relations with Sultan. And Sultan said, well, I have relations with him, and they wouldn't charge me anything. I said, well, that's fine. Your relationships are fine. I'm okay with that. It's great. He's a nice man. But I said, I should still pay because, you've taken me to the store. I bought 5, 6 items. Maybe, there's a certain price. And I would like to pay, but they wouldn't take any money from me. I said, no, we cannot take any money from you. So I came home. So whenever I went to buy something, they would not let me pay. So one day, I went with my other friend, Mr. Bakir. I went with him, and I said, well, can we go to town, just local, and get some fruit? So I stopped at some fruit stalls, and I bought, my goodness, and I stopped at about 4 fruit stalls, And we bought 12 hand caddy bags with fruit, bananas, mangoes, oranges, you name it, it was there. Melons, loads of fruits, because it was our day of the festival that day. It was Yom Rishon. It was Feast of Tabernacles, not Tabernacles. Sorry, it was Feast of Trumpets. So I said, we must take plenty of fruit. So I took plenty of fruit, bought some sweets. There was about 8-10 bags, 2-3 bags of sweets. Took them in the house, put them all in the little cabbie, took them all in the house, and they were like, wow, that's a lot of fruit. I said, well, it is our festival, and I think time is appropriate. We have a sweet thing, we have sweet mithai, and we have this stuff. And I said, you're going to cook your meals, and that's absolutely wonderful. And the children were great. They had children, 2 girls and 3 boys. Children were great. So I thought, well, I must give the children a gift. So I went to the local market. I went to the local store, which I saw advertised on YouTube. They were selling imported stuff from abroad at quite discounted rates. So I went to the imported stuff shop, and I wanted to buy the girls and the boys, I wanted to buy them a air fryer. I thought that's just appropriate. Get them an air fryer, and they can use that. And I went to get an air fryer. It cost me $50 over here, the large air fryer. I think this one was coming from South Korea. Bought that. I bought a couple of items. I bought some items for myself. And then I took them and I gave it to the children. I said, well, let's try this air fryer tonight or tomorrow. And they did. And it created fantastic chicken. Beautiful, grilled chicken. You would not eat chicken like that in the whole of Karachi, whole of the world. Why? Because air fried chicken is not the same. It was crispy. It was nice. It was beautifully marinated. It came out real good. They were all very happy to eat it. It's soft as well. And I explained to them how to use it. They're using it. And I said, you can use it to make fries for the children. You can use it to make patties, beef burgers, all sorts of things. Experiment. I said to them, experiment with it. And your children will be happy. I leave this as a memento that I came over here. I had a little shofar. I gave it to them as a gift to carry in the family. I gave them my siddur, and I said, these should be my mementos for you to know that the Kohen was here. If anybody challenges you, well, how come the Kohen was here? Well, maybe he was not here, he's making it up. I said, you can show these proofs. That my signature is on the siddur, and this is my little trumpet that I carried around with me, and I can use it and blow it. So they were blowing trumpet all over the place. It was Feast of Tabernacles. I was very, very delighted, very, very happy. I had great favor. I had great favor on my travels over there. And what happened, I stayed there the 10 days, beautiful time, spent time with the family, eating. They gave me different varieties of food. They said, we'll try this food today, then try this one today, is all specialities here, and this one, and this one, and this one, and it was like amazing. Tried all sorts of foods over there, local cuisines. And then I went to a store, then I went outside, and I said, I need to get some of these dry fruits, like walnuts and, other things, other bits and bats. And I went there was an Indian lady sitting there on Sunday, heat of the sun. She gives me a seat and she says, sit down, brother. And I sit down on the seat, and the seat was like roasting my bum. It was so hot. And I sat on it, and I said, well, okay, I like to have some walnuts and some other nuts. And she showed me, she said, how much? I said, well, make them, 1/4 of a kilo. That's what she did. And she suggested to make a half a kilo. I said, okay, go ahead. And then she said, well, what about figs? I said, yes, throw some figs in as well. What about dates? I said, throw some dates in. And then what about this? Throw it in. And then whatever she showed me, I said, throw it in. Make it all up. And I made she made a bill, which was about maybe, I wouldn't say it's a huge bill, and it wasn't say it's a small bill. It's a kind of medium-sized bill. And the lady was very happy. She said to me that, she was a Hindu lady. I said, where do you come from? She said, I come from around, town where the Hindus live. And I come over here every morning. Basically, the total bill, believe it or not, was less than $20. And she was very happy because $20 is a lot of amount over here. And she goes to me, I wish I get customers like you every day. She said, pray for me. So I said, I pray for you. I leave you my right hand of blessing. God will bless you, protect you as you go along your way. I left it at that. But before I give the right hand of blessing, I wanted to tell you the right hand of curse, because I gave somebody my right hand of curse as well. I was going last week, prior to coming to Karachi, to another city over here, and we were in a car with a family in the car in the back. The windows are darkened up on the car, so nobody can just look in from just looking from outside. But you really have to come close, put your face to the car, mirror, before you can see inside. So this person, he comes over here, he begs for money. He's about 26 years old, and I kind of point to him to leave. And what he does, he comes closer to the car on my left-hand side, continues to look inside the car who's sitting in. And I had my wife in the car. I had another family member, another young lady with her daughter. And that kind of annoyed me a little. And I said, well, this man is not budging. Looked like he was on a little drugs as well. And I told him to leave. He doesn't leave. Then he comes around to my side and lower the window. I said, do you not understand what I just told you? And he goes to me, God will give you blessings. I said, God has already given me blessings. So get lost. And he doesn't go. I shut the window up. He's still standing there, ignorantly standing there, just looking and just, knocking my window or pointing. And I tell him again, I said, leave. And he doesn't go. Again, I said, leave. Don't go. I said, look, if I come out, it will not be good. He don't budge. He just stands there. That made me really angry. At that point, I said, well, it's time to give him the right hand of the Levite, but in a different way this time, in a curse. So I came out of the car with my two, family members sitting in the back with a little girl, and I lifted up my right hand. I can tell you that I hit him like a hammer with my right hand, open hand. I hit him on my right hand. It was like he was hit by a hammer, and he went flying on the left-hand side of the footpath. I then grabbed him from the footpath, lifted him up with two of my hands, and threw him to the right of the footpath. And he went flying to the right of the footpath. I said, let me give you some money, and let me teach you some manners. And so when I did that, his shoes went flying off, and I picked up his shoes and threw it to one side, and I started walking towards him. I said, come here, let me teach you some manners today. When there's family sitting over here, how you supposed to behave? But he didn't stop. He ran. He got hit so hard just with my slap and a pickup. I did not fold my fist yet. I did not try to kick him. I don't know if I folded my fist, I would have broken some of his bones in his body. But he doesn't know that my hand is a hammer and my foot is an axe. And so he ran off. And everybody's looking, what happened? And this whole scene took 2 minutes. So I come back and sit in the car. Well, I said, when people like this, are, disturbing you, then this is what they need to get. Because this is an Islamic country. You're not allowed to stare at people's wives or, their family members. And he did exactly that, which is a crime on the street, deliberately. And that's how I dealt with him. So you can have the right hand of the Levite as a curse, or you can have the right hand of the Levite as a blessing. So I gave the blessing to the Hindu lady, and I was walking up, and I picked up a suitcase that I needed because I was short on suitcase space. I picked up a suitcase, and the man said, "Can you bless me as you go? You pray for me that I get more customers." And I said, "Indeed you will. Indeed you will. I leave you a blessing." So I left him a blessing there. Two people, they received the blessing of the Kohen, the right hand of the Kohen. And the third main family that I left them a blessing of the Kohen. And when I went to this widow's house that was there, I took my dowsing rods and I wanted to measure her house's energy, because I said, well, it looks like to me that you have narrow finances, tight finances. Your son died recently. You have illness in the house. This doesn't mean that you're all sinners, but it does mean that there is something in the house that's causing this place not to grow. So I went in, checked it, and lo and behold, 2 parts of the house extremely negative. So I had to fix those negative parts and did a prayer in the house, and I said, now this house will reap you blessings and rewards and financial abundance. I said this should have been done years ago, but unfortunately I wasn't there to do it. Nobody else understood how to do it. It's just sad state of affairs that sometimes we want to do things, but we're not there. So I said, it's not a problem. I've come and done it now, and you should never have this problem again. And so the lady was very satisfied and very happy. With that, I like to teach you today powerful manifesting laws, techniques that we have that will work for you. I would encourage you to write it down, because, when I speak, I may speak fast, but I will try and speak slow, so you can write it down. So here is some of my manifestation techniques that work so quickly and that are great for me, and they'll be great for you. So one of the techniques you can write is this: all my manifestations comes to me so quickly, it's so easy for me. All my manifestations comes to me so quickly, it's so easy for me. Then you can write the manifestation technique. Start with, I create $1,000 a day. Create $1,000 a day. You can say, I create $1 million a year. You can say, I am creating wealth and abundance daily. And you can say, I am a self-manifested millionaire. I am a self-manifested millionaire. Now, when you repeat these day in, day out, in front of the mirror or in your mind, you will start to do that. You will start to see a flow of money coming into your life. But before I even go that far, I want to give you a very, very powerful commandment. And the commandment is a why commandment, and it's a subconscious commandment. The why commandment will go something like this: why do I feel that I am going to receive a fat paycheck each month? Why do I believe that my name is in the highest earners of the world? I'll repeat these. Why do I feel that I'm going to receive a fat paycheck each month? Why do I believe that my name is in the highest earners of the world? The why, by the way, is a question mark. It means that your brains, your subconscious, will not retaliate to it. It will not challenge it. It will not say why. It will not say you don't have it or anything like that. There's no resistances. It passes through resistances. And you can even say, why do I know that I'm getting richer every month? Why am I born to be rich? Why am I part of the highest 10% earners? Now the subconscious command is a very powerful command. I use this command when I have certain stuck situations. I use them to allow people to come to me, to visit me, who are stuck, far off, and having difficulty coming through. And so I do it like this. Subconscious, I command you to bring, then the name, so-and-so, to me for a loving meeting. When I want to meet somebody, I issue that command every night, and I read it in the daytime as well. Apart from that, there are several other subconscious commands I can issue. Now, if you have a body condition, like if you have an illness, like some kind of illness that you have, you can say subconscious, I command you to remove my diabetes. I know when I sleep tonight, you are taking me to the doctor. This is just one example of an illness. It doesn't have to be diabetes, it could be something else. Poor sight. Subconscious, I command you to clear my sight. I know when I sleep tonight, you're taking me to the doctor. Okay? Now, I'll give you another example, which will help you. Let me find it. Now, the subconscious doesn't have to be starting with subconscious. You can do it another way. You can say, I command you, subconscious. You can do it that way as well. Now, another way to do it is you can say, I command you, subconscious, to bring me X amount of money. You name a figure. Let me call it $500,000. Or more money to pay all my card loans and any other loans and bring their balances to zero. See, this is if you have high credit card debt, you can do this. Subconscious, I command you to bring me $500 million. Oh, sorry, not 500 million, 500,000. This is like a small amount. Subconscious, I command you to bring me $500,000 or more money to pay all my card loans and bring their balances to zero. I know you will do this and bring the money to the bank with plenty to spare to purchase assets. Another one could be that you want to acquire a large sum of money, maybe you want to rescue somebody. But basically, let me give you an example. I used a subconscious command last week to rescue 2 people in a short space of time, 2 girls who were held captive. Now you can use a subconscious command to also add height to your frame. If you are 5 foot 5 inches tall and you would like to grow another 2 or 3 inches, you can say, I command your subconscious to make me 5 foot 8 inches tall. I know when I sleep tonight, you will get to work to make this happen. This is for those people who are short and feel they need more height. It's possible. For stock market people who want to be a millionaire, in the stock market, there is a why command. Why do I feel and believe that I have made my first $1 million in the stock market? Why do I feel and believe that I have made my first $1 million in the stock market? Now there's other usage of the subconscious command to do with body parts, and maybe to do with finances, and maybe to do with jobs. You can even issue a command to the subconscious to say, subconscious, I command you to give me such and such job. Whatever that job is in your state, I know you're going to make this happen. Subconscious, I command you to give me such and such job. I know you're going to make this happen. You see, you issue this command at sleep and before sleep in the morning, and don't need to do it the rest of the day. This command will get to work when you sleep, because that's what it does. It's a sleep command. Only need to say it once. The other thing I'd like to encourage you to say is, I am the Torah, I am the law. I am the Torah, I am the law. I command you, subconscious, to give me $5 million in my bank. I know when I sleep tonight, You will bring it. These are powerful, powerful methods. They are not just gimmicky methods. They're not just affirmations. They're powerful. Let me give you another one. I declare I'm a stock market millionaire. My stock picks thrust northward like a rocket. This is law, not an affirmation. No one can change it. I declare I have definitely received $1 million in my bank or more. This is law, not an affirmation. No one can change it. I declare I'm a stock market millionaire. My stock picks thrust northward like a rocket. This is law, not an affirmation. No one can change it. Okay? Then I can give you some more. Worry-free, concern-free, anxiety-free. This is part of the stuff that I picked up on the internet in my travels, and I thought this is a great command to put before you. Worry-free, concern-free, anxiety-free. Yes, it not only is possible, it is law. God goes before me, and all concerned preparing our way sure. This is law. It is not an affirmation. This has always been and always will be. It cannot be violated. We are worried about nothing. We are making ourselves anxious over nothing. There is nothing to be concerned about. I live my life without worry, concern, or anxiety. It is heaven. Again, I live my life without worry, concern, or anxiety. It is heaven. These are powerful, powerful manifesting commands and intentions. I want you all to learn them. I want you all to practice them daily. And I want to see all of you in great successes. Money flowing in, great jobs, happy spouses, happy families. That's where we need to be. So, Mishpacha, with that, I will stop the lecture. I think I've given you enough information here. You need to go through my lecture 2-3 times to understand what I'm saying and how it's done. And you will reap great, great rewards. It will work wonderfully. Don't worry about if you don't see it in a 3D yet. Don't just say, oh, well, I did it 10 times and I don't see it yet. No. Persist. Do not stop. Do not give up. Persist. Persist. And it will come into your 3D reality. With this, blessings to you. Shabbat Shalom. Shalom, Shalom. Over to you, Rabbi Kefa.
Take it from the top. Shabbat Shalom, Mishpacha. This is Rabbi Kefa coming in from home base here in San Antonio, Texas. Todah Rabah HaKohen for your lecture. Beautiful, marvelous instruction and guidance based upon what? Based upon HaKohen's what? His doings, right? His travels. And you know, he said something that's very, very important. How many of you are traveling people? How many of you will consider yourself a person that travels? Everybody should be putting up a T right now because you all travel. You travel outside of your house. Now, you know, whether you understand what, you know, travel, the word travel is relative. You know, it could be you're traveling on a plane, you're traveling in your car, but you're traveling people, you're sojourners. It's in our DNA, Mishpacha. Whether you believe that or not, it's real. It is the law. It's in our DNA to travel. Now, it's very, very important for us to understand several things on many different points because we are traveling people. HaKohen, your lecture was beautiful. It was marvelous. You know, because it teaches us when we travel, and this, he said this in his lecture as well. I don't know if you picked up on it, but he talked about relationship. How many of you heard him use the word relationship? His friends were using it. He said, well, we have a particular kind of relationship, so you don't have to pay. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, this is totally what life is all about. It's all about a relationship. And I'm getting ready to crank up my lecture. I titled my lecture, Yard Talk. Yard Talk. Yard Talk. Yard Talk, yeah. Like Yard Talk, Rabbi Kefa, what the hell are you talking about? It's all about Yard Talk because we need to talk about the Yard Talk. Because in the beginnings, you'll see established was a yard, right? Now, some of you may, depending on where you're geographically located, you may not call it a yard. You may call it a garden, right? How many of you use the word, when you look at your backyard, you say backyard or do you say back garden? How many of you put up a Y for yard and a G for garden? How do you say, depending on where you're at in the world? Some people say, well, Rabbi Kefa, I don't even have a garden or a yard. You know, what do you say? Do you say garden or do you say yard? Oliver, Vive la France, he says garden. So if for Oliver, this lecture title, and for Lion King and Lion Princess probably as well, this title lecture would be called Garden Talk. Because this is where it all starts and where it all begins. Because, I mean, think about this for a minute. We're going to do some yard talk. But before we do that, let's kick off the lecture with the beginnings, reading from the very, very, very beginnings in our holy books, Baruch Hashem. And if you don't have the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, I would encourage you to purchase that Bible and circulate the monies for it. It'll be a great addition to your studies and understanding from the powers of all things and the creator of all things, Baruch Hashem. Bereshit. I'm going to read Genesis 1:1. Bereshit 1:1. Bara Elohim aleph tav hashamayim va'et ha'eretz. Baruch Hashem. It says, in the beginning, Elohim powers created the Shemayim and the land. So, what was going on in the beginning? Anybody tell me? From what we just read in this awesome passage my goodness, we can take this passage right here and break it down till the cows come home. How many of you, what do you understand is going on here from the very beginning? In the beginning was what? In the beginning was what? In the beginning was what? According to our holy books, in the beginning was creation. In the beginning was, and I don't want to use the word creation per se, but I want to see it in the beginning because was the bringing forth. You know what I mean? Things were brought forth, but our Torah says it right here. In the beginning, the creationism takes place. And now creationism, you can change that word up and say being brought forth. You can say calling it in. Rabbi Zechariah would say reeling it in, being the great fisherman that he is. Reeling it in, however you want to say it. But this was what was taking place in the beginning. Now, my last lecture title from last Shabbat was in your beginning. But we're talking about in the beginning was what? Was all about bringing forth, manifesting, creating, calling forth. Now, remember we talked about our Kohen's lecture? He didn't mention one verse, but what did he teach you about how to do? He taught you he's teaching you how to bring it in, how to create, how to manifest, how to call it forth. He's going even deeper than just reading passages in the black and white in our holy books. You see what I mean? So for some, they may not like it here because, the Kohen didn't even read a verse from the Bible. But the Kohen did even more for us, right? He instructed us and gave us instruction and examples on how to. How many of you are how-toers in the room? How many of you are like, you're do-it-yourselfers? You want to take something and you want to just do, you want to do it. You know what I mean? You just want to do, I don't need to call nobody. I got this. Watch a few YouTube videos and then you tackle whatever you need to tackle and you make it happen. The how-toers, you could do it. If that person could do it, then I could do it. I might need some instruction in that area, but then I can make it happen. Give me the instruction. I'll make it happen. Or I'm damn near going to try to make it happen, right? I'm going to do my best. I'm going to put forth my effort. And then, creationism will come about. And then I'll be able to call it forth because I'm bringing forth effort. I'm bringing forth some accountability to the process. You know what I mean? I'm here and I'm present and I'm ready to do. This one's for you, Brother Davis. And so when we look at Bereshit, let me tell you about our Hebrew and how we understand it from all these different layers in our Hebrew letters and how we understand it. Now, if you want to really understand our Hebrew language, you got to understand this point right here. The first word in every letter has the weight. Everything else supports the first letter. The first letter, not word, but letter in the word. You know what I mean? So when we look at Bereshit, what is the first letter in Bereshit, Ms. Bahar? I know a lot of you know this because we taught this already. Kohen taught me this, and I've been saying this for a while, because we need to understand it. You see, we need to get our interpretation not from Gentiles, but we need to get it from the Kohen, from the people of the books, from our thought process, not from what Gentiles say. Because strong will take you somewhere very far off, and you'll totally miss the intended meaning. And the Master Yeshua, he said, I didn't come to destroy the law, but I came to give the laws its intended meaning, its intent. I didn't come to destroy it. You see? But that's what people thought, because, they were destroying the law. They were watering the law down so much that, you couldn't make heads or tails of what it was. And it was causing all kind of confusion when the law is the law. And he come to give the law the intended meaning. And that's what the first letter in each word does in the Hebrew. It holds all the weight. And all the other letters in a Hebrew word will complement that. You all understand that? Put up a 1 if you say, Rabbi Kefa, I got that. I really understand it. This is the meat and potatoes of really understanding, and really being able to decipher. You get it, Brother Davis? All right, Brother Davis, Baruch Hashem. So it's the first word. So when we look at Bereshit, let's look at Bereshit, because this is where I'm going. We're doing some yard talk today, or for you others, we're doing some garden talk, Baruch Hashem. So when we look at Bereshit, what's the first letter in Bereshit? Anybody tell me? What's the first letter, Hebrew letter in Bereshit? The Bet, right? Right? The Bet, right? Okay, great. Now, in the beginning, right? When we look at the word Bereshit, we look at that Bet. What is the ancient symbol for Bet? What is, can anybody tell me? This is juicy. And when you grasp hold of this, my goodness. Kohen was talking about that throughout the whole of his lecture. What is the ancient symbol for the word Bet? There you go. For the letter Bet, it's a house, Brother Davis. Do you see this? This is powerful. In the beginning was the house. In the beginning. And you see why? You see why Mother Wisdom right now is doing the same thing with us right now as Israel wakes up? Is we got to establish our house first in the beginning. When we go back to in the beginning, you see, Torah don't change. Do you see it? It's beautiful, isn't it? Torah don't change, Ms. Bahar. This is why your house is so important today in 2021, just like it was in the beginning. In the beginning was the house. And what was going on in the house in the beginnings? Creativity, manifesting, calling forth, right? When we look at this Parsha Bereshit, what's going on throughout the whole of this Parsha, Mishpah? Calling forth. In the beginnings was calling forth. In the beginnings was house. Now, we look at the house. What entails, what goes on in that house? And do you see how it ties in with our festival day tomorrow, Sukkot? You see why our forefathers was commanded, even though, and I tell you, I'm definitely going to celebrate tomorrow because I'm totally happy. And I'm totally grateful that the powers of the Most High, the powers of Israel, that they guided and leaded us, our forefathers, through the desert, led our forefathers through the desert, and then didn't leave us hanging, and understanding that sukkah that you're going to build, or that sukkah that you have in your garden or your yard, is a reflection and to help you remember that the mighty hand of the Most High was always protecting and is always covering us. Just like we were commanded to build booths, to build tents, or what we say in ancient times was booths. Do you see how beautiful that is? But even more important, we have to build a house. You have to build your house. In the beginning was house building, and that house building starts with you. You the house. Why do you think we don't have a standing temple today? I went to Tel Arad with our Kohen in Israel and saw our temple in ruins, man. It was just rocks. I'm looking at all these rocks, these white rocks. Eddies, I didn't see no Roman garrison wall where you could put some freaking, little passages in the little cracks and all that. No, it was ruins. Nothing was standing, Mishpah. It was all just rocks. Rocks. And then the fields, just imagine this, the fields were all plowed over. And you see this nice grass, and you can feel the breeze of this wind. I tell you, I'll never forget that experience. I'll never forget it. Why do you think we don't have a standing temple today? Because we are the temple. You the house. In the beginning is the house. You can't destroy the house. The house is going to stand. You see, regardless of that, you can't physically see the house. See, because you are the house is within you, and the house is going to stand. It's gonna always stand. Now we have to get get into the grits and the greens and the meat and potatoes and look inside the house. Okay, well, what's in the house? What do you desire to be in the house? I tell you, this is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful understanding and revelation when you understand it. What should be our focus in the beginning as we wake up as Israel? Bereshith is telling us right here, in the beginnings, you need to concern yourself about your house. Are you all seeing that? Isn't that beautiful? Don't concern yourself about what the Joneses are doing next door. Don't concern yourself about what's going on in these religions. No, you need to have your focus on your house. Remember I talked about focusing on your family? Baruch Hashem. You need to focus on your house. Brother David says teaching starts in the home. Oh, indeed. Teaching starts and it stays in the home. And then what permeates outside of that? People gonna desire to, you're gonna attract certain people to you. You're gonna attract certain energies to you. True Joy Ministries, you don't have to go out and get those energies. Those energies gonna come to you, and they gonna come to your house. Hey, let me tell you this. Did Abraham go out with a sign on his body saying, come to my house and get a free meal? Or did people just come to his house because his doors were open? They came to Abraham. Abraham didn't go out seeking out people. Yeshua ben Joseph, Jesus of Nazareth, Yahushua, what did he do? Did he go out? Oh, yeah, Miracle Man is here. He had placards walking around town on Friday nights. The Miracle Man is here. Who want a miracle today? No, people came to him. He attracted people to him, Baruch Hashem. We have the same DNA. So why the hell are we out here trying to go out and save the world? That's not our remit. That's not our commandment to go out here and save the world. You see, we're to take care of our house. Everything starts with the home, Mishpah. Get your home right. And believe me, I'm seeing it with my own life. I'm seeing the evolution of my home. I mean, believe me, I went through several homes. My house is still standing, but I went through several homes in my house. You see what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Until I was comfortable, until I realized what I wanted. And this garden talk, baby. This is garden talk. So when we look at Adam, and as they call her Eve or Hava, and even when we look at Lilith, if you have the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, Hidden Truth Break Scrolls, man, you got to understand. First, we have a garden. They call it the Garden of Eden. You can call it the Yard of Eden, whatever you want to call it. But look, in the beginnings was a house and a garden. How many y'all getting this? This is beautiful, right? In the beginning was a house and a garden. Baruch Hashem. Now, we see from that, and Kohen talked about in his lecture, relationships start to develop. In a house, you have relationships, right? Relationships start to develop. And family, you all understand that, sometimes family can't get along. And we see that with the first relationships in the garden. In our garden talk, we see what happened. Lilith couldn't get along with her Adam. It didn't work out. Things weren't working right. Why? Because at the end of the day, in your garden, you have the ability to choose what you desire for yourself. And we're going to get to that part in a minute. Because not only in our yard, we had a house in our yard. We had what? We had a garden, or we had a yard, right? Because some people don't have that. Some people right now, you may be listening in via Facebook, or you're listening in on YouTube, and you say, Rabbi Kefa, I live in an apartment. Hey, my house in China, I don't have a yard. I live on what floor we live on in China? I think it's the 27th floor, something like that. We live in a building. You know what I'm saying? There is no yard. There is no garden. You know what I'm saying? So some people don't have a yard or a garden. So they say, or so they think. But in the beginning is a house, is a yard. And what else is in there? There's a tree, right? Oh, it's getting juicy, isn't it? But this is yard talk. This is yard talk here. Let's get to the basics here. We got to get to the fundamentals of, and like Brother David says, the foundation of it all as human beings. You see? The creator that created all things. All of us, you see. We got to get to the basic fundamentals of it all. And HaKohen did not quote one verse out of Bereshit, but guess what he did? He taught us and instructed us on the most important things. Relationship. How to get what you want. How many of you understand in the garden, Adam and Eve, we're going to read it in a minute because you need to see this for yourself. But whatever they wanted and they picked from the tree, it was. Think about that for a minute. The tree in the garden. What you think or what you imagine, it was. Wow. Think about that for a minute. Imagine that for a minute. You picking from a tree, and whatever you desire, it was. You see why HaKohen is teaching us these things? Because these are in the beginning things. The foundation from the very beginning of time, right, Brother Davis? This is what it's about here. The foundation of your family. And understanding within your house, you can have whatever you want. What do you want? Some people don't even know. Some people don't even know how to get that. You can have whatever you want. Because whatever they picked from that tree, it was. It is. Get it. Whatever you pick from your tree, it is. What are you picking from your tree? This is why Yeshua ben Yosef, Jesus of Nazareth, Yahushua. You say, well, what do you want? What do you want? That's in the beginning. Is that we can have whatever we desire. You can have it. It's real. It's real. It is real. This is not some mamby-pamby circus show or some kind of, sleight of the hand type stuff. This is real life, real deal stuff that, whatever you desire for yourself, it will be in your house. You see? If you want a house of destruction, that's what your house will be. If you want a house of chaos, that's what your house is. You see? So, the way we study our language is that the first letter in each word holds all the weight. All the other letters in that word just support the first word. They're supporting characters. Get it? That's beautiful, isn't it? We're talking about a house here now. How you want to decorate your house, the furniture you want in your house is up to you. But you all need to see yourself as a house in the beginning. You're a house. Are you going to be swayed? Are you going to be moved? Are you pouring concrete on your foundation? Or are you pouring sand? Yeshua ben Yosef gave many parables about this in what they call the New Testament. Talking about your house. Talking about the house divided against itself can't stand. You can't have division in your house, but a lot of folks do, and this is why their house don't stand. So they go and they try to build another house and another house and another house. And they all keep falling apart because they don't have the fundamentals, the foundation like Brother Davis talked about, right? You see? So, it's not so much, and how Brother Davis says it this way, that the house and the garden, it can be protection. The Torah is our protection. More importantly, your action or reaction to the Torah is what protects you. You see, some people say they have Torah, but their doings of the Torah is not right. So when you look at the AN, if you don't manufacture the right doings of the Torah, the Torah cannot work for you properly. You get what I'm saying? So when you look at that word AN, that man that looks like he's running, it looks like he's working, he's walking the what? The Torah, that upright man. I'm giving you description words, Brother Davis. He's upright and he's walking or he's running. He's taking action. He's an action man. He's a doer of the word upright, meaning righteous. Whoa, Brother Davis, you see how we take that word and go with it? There you go. He's putting in work. Beautiful word. Beautiful character, that AN, isn't it? Baruch Hashem. Because that's the kind of man we want to be. A man of action. A doer. You see him? He's doing. He's upright. He's doing. He's not bent over. He's not a slouch. He's not laying in a lazy boy chair, is he? No, he's upright and he's walking the way. By his doing, not by what he say. You don't see the man sit there look like his mouth is moving, isn't it? In the AN, right? No, look like he got his mouth shut, by the way, because he's too busy doing. He's too busy taking action. That's what he's all about. And he don't care if he fails, because guess what? He don't fail. He learns and then he wins. He never loses. He learns and then he wins. He learns and then he gets himself back up together and he keeps walking and he keeps running and he's upright. And he got his hand out there because he understands that the kingdom of the Most High is at hand, so he got to put it to work. Isn't that beautiful? This is our way of life. This is our heritage, Mishpachah. And our heritage starts with our family. And this is what I want to, this is yard talk today. We're talking about the yard. And so when you go to the tree that's in your yard and you pick from it, you can have whatever you desire from your tree. How many of you can imagine a tree in your yard, in your garden? And you can go to it and you can pick from that tree and it can be whatever you want, and it is. Baruch Hashem. Some of you are picking depression from your tree. Some of you are picking lack from your tree. Some of you are picking joy from your tree, and you're picking peace from your tree, and it is. It's whatever you want to be. You own it. You claim it. That's your house. You have the title to it. That's your house. That's your yard. That's your tree. Baruch Hashem. But many people, they just gloss over this. They don't get the foundation of it. And they begin to ask you all these asinine questions that has nothing to do with beings in Colombia. And you're like, man, how does that pertain to your family? And providing for your family and building your house on top of another house and building many houses. Baruch Hashem. You don't have to settle for one house. If you like one house, that's cool. If you like 2 or 3 houses, that's great. If you like 50 houses, that's cool. If that's what you desire. You see? And some people don't like the house. Lilith didn't like the house. She didn't like the environment. She didn't like the structure. So she said, I'm out of here. I'm out. I'm not doing this. And that's her choice. Listen, if from the very beginnings of time here in Bereshith, we can afford Lilith the ability to choose, do you not think it's fair for us in 2021 to allow these Gentiles to be able to choose what they want to do, to allow humanity to be able to choose what they want to do, and we're not putting pressure on anybody, right, Brother Davis? We're not putting pressure on our mother and our father to come into the way. No, we're going to allow them to come to us and say, hey, Oliver, right, Oliver? I'm ready. I'm ready to come into I'm ready. Hey, I want this. This is what I want. I want what you have. Not going to them telling, look, I'm going to give you this and you're going to take it like a man or a woman. No, that's not just and that's not fair. And that's not our way of doing things in the beginning, right? In the beginning, we establish our homes. And other people, hey, my neighbor, he loves my home. He loves it. He's like, man, I sure like the way you run your family. He said, man, y'all, you got a loving wife over there. Because you know why? Oliver, he don't have that next door. He see my son Nakshan. He said, oh, he looks just like you. I say, Baruch Hashem. Just like his father. I begat him, Baruch Hashem, with the help of my lovely and beautiful queen. He don't see his wife as a queen. You see? He complaining about her. Oh, man, my wife got me doing this, that, the other, and the third. I come home from work. My wife told me I got to get another job because we don't have enough money and blah, 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 blah. And I'm next door to him, his next door neighbor. And I'm living in paradise. And I got the Garden of Eden in my backyard, Baruch Hashem. And I'm pulling from my tree. And whatever I desire, I get it. Ooh-wee. And you see, you juxtapose the two. Night and day, right? But my neighbor, he loves my energy. I was talking to somebody on the phone the other day, and I needed assistance because I had circulated some money through one of these money services, and I guess the wrong whatever number, the IBAN number was wrong or whatever, and blah blah blah. So I get to talking to this woman, and she said, "Man, you have your energy. I like your energy." I'm like, Baruch Hashem. I said, you can have this same energy too. And get this, I'm talking to this woman, we got the same birthday. So we begin to talk. We talk about all this other stuff, and this stuff is being recorded, right? So I'm just talking. I know it's being recorded because they tell you in the beginning, oh, we record these things for, for educational purposes and blah, blah, blah. So I'm talking to him, telling him, you're great. I know you get a lot of calls here, and not many people are really, grateful and happy to talk to you, and they probably cussing you out, but this is not one of those calls. I'm here to be a blessing to you. She's like, huh? I said, I'm here to be a blessing to you. I'm here to be a blessing to you and give you positive energy, infuse peace, love, joy, and happiness in your life. She's like, wow. She's like, we have the same birthday? And she began to open up to me. How do I know we had the same birthday? She told me. She said, hey, do you know we have the same birthday? We Scorpios. I'm like, hallelujah. How big is your pincher? How big is your stinger, baby? You know what I'm saying? And we just have a great conversation. And I got her to laugh. And how many of you understand laughter is a great medicine, man? It's a marvelous medicine. So I got her laughing, and she just opened her. She said, you know what? Look what just came through. Your money has returned. I mean, my money was going I circulated to a foreign country. And she's like, oh, this doesn't ever happen, but they've already put the money back in your account. I'm like, Ricochet. I was like, I love your energy. And I'm telling her I love her energy. Because nobody had probably ever told her that before. You know what I mean? So, because I want to puff her up. I don't want to tear her down, Adelia. You know what I mean? I want to raise her up. I want to put her at the head, not the tail. You know what I'm saying? That's our lifestyle. That's who we are. But it all starts with a relationship that I have with the woman. Just like the relationship that I have with my neighbor. To where he's saying, hey, I want you to come over. You and your family come over for Thanksgiving and break bread with us. I'm like, Baruch Hashem. Yes, brother. We've been brothers for years. Man, he calls me his brother. He's Puerto Rican. He calls me his brother. Man, we've been brothers for years. He goes to Christian church on Sunday. He said, man, I go to that church and I sit in the back row. My wife angry at me. I sit in the back row and I'm sleeping. I have the Bible open, but I'm back there sleeping because I just got off work on a night shift and I got to take my wife to church and blah, blah, blah. But he's always complaining about the things that his wife does wrong. And I'm flipping the script on him and telling him how the wonderful things that my wife does for me to make him understand. Well, you need to see your wife as wonderful. You see what he's picking from his tree? I'm giving you these examples so you guys can begin to see as students of human nature, what people pick from their tree. Because what they pick from their tree is what they're going to get in their garden. You see? That's exactly what they're going to get. What you think or imagine it is. And that's real. That's so true. So the garden is about relationships. It's about your family and you establishing relationships within your family, within your house. You see what I mean? True Joy Ministries, okay, Shabbat Shalom to you. Have a wonderful 6 days of labor ahead. And continue on with your marvelous ministry. They're doing marvelous and great things for humanity, Baruch Hashem, on many different levels. It's happening and it's happening now, True Joy Ministries. That's real. It's real. Because you believe it's real. And it's gonna be that way. Baruch Hashem. Have a wonderful 6 days of labor ahead. So that's what we have to understand, Mishpahah. Is that in the beginnings, we see in Bereshit, it's all about your house. How are you going to establish your house? That's going to be up to you. Maybe some people don't like your house, they'll leave. Lila did. She left. And that was it. She left and that was it. But then what was the formula that we see take place? Now we're going to establish a new house. Let's get you some new wives in the mix. Ha'adam. You see, Ha'adam just didn't sit there and throw a pity pat. Oh man, Lila, my first love, she gone. And I'm so depressed, Rabbi. I'm just, Yahweh, what I'm going to do? I love the Yahweh. So I go into the bar every night and I'm just drinking my pains away. Because I love, when the time for all that mumbo jumbo. Then, let's give you what you desire. The wife that you desire for yourself. I mean, I don't like divorce, but sometimes that needs to happen. Happened in my life a couple of times. So that I could find the right one that fit for me. You know what I mean? I mean, I truly am. I'm not a fan of divorce in a Gentile way, or definitely, when you take those, those oaths and the vows in our Hebrew way. But sometimes that needs to happen. Anybody been through a divorce in the room? Put up a D. You know what I mean? But it needed to happen for me to get to where I am today. You know what I mean? to get this beautiful, 10 wives in one that I have today, Baruch Hashem. And it had to happen. It had to happen for me to get my peace and my love and my joy. Right, Devorah? That's why it had to happen, for you to get that significant other that you have now. You see, in life, to really have appreciation for it, you go through the proverbial hell to appreciate the heaven. You see what I mean? You have to see the bad, maybe live the bad, maybe even do the bad before you can appreciate the good. Right? You have a higher gratitude and a higher appreciation. Why? It's because you went through that experience. You see what I mean? It's just not, you're just not talking from lack of experience. You're talking from much experience. Oh yeah, I've been there, done that. I've been through divorce, so we can reason together, and I can counsel you because I've been through it. I know it. You know what I mean? I have experience in that area. You see, when you want somebody on your side, when you want somebody to fight for you, make sure you get somebody with some experience. And whatever it is, if you want somebody to deal with your medical issues, get with a doctor that's experienced, right? If you want somebody to work on your car, get with somebody that's experienced, right? If you want somebody to fix the roof on your house, you want to pick somebody that has experience. You want to establish a relationship with those folks that have experience. Put these people on your team. Why? It's because they have experience. And you see, this is why I've noted, and there's been studies on this, is that younger women, they seem to like to get together and establish relationships with older men. Anybody noted that as well? You'll see younger women that truly are wise, they'll get with men that are a lot older than them. Why? It's because these men have experience. And you may be saying, well, Rabbi, these men also maybe have a lot more money than these youngsters out there. You know what I mean? Could be that too. But these men have a lot more experience, and these women like that. They like older men because, they may bring more money to the table, or like I hear these women talk about, and my co-workers say, I want a man with some benefits. Because older men have benefits. You see what I mean? How many of you are in a relationship right now to where let's just say the man is a lot older than you. Let's just say older than you. Put up an O. If you're in a relationship where the man is older than you. Now I won't say a lot because that's relative, but it's older than you. Anybody in that kind of relationship where the man where the man is older than the woman? Anybody in a relationship like that? Wow. Am I the only one? Amazing. Okay, there's another one. Just want to make sure. Wow. But you see that for the most part is that men, they like younger women, and younger women like older men. And I don't mean older. It could be older by a year or two, or maybe 5 years, or maybe even 10 years, maybe even 20 years. But it's all about that experience factor. So when you establish your house, consider that in your relations. Now, if you get somebody with no experience, that's also good as well. Because I'm going to tell you, my wife is Chinese, right? She come from China, and guess what? Majority of the Chinese don't believe in no God. And that's awesome when you come from no belief system. You start out fresh. You start out, Brother Davis, like a baby, you see? So it's easy to mold and shape you, and you have less baggage, Brother Davis. Do you get it? So there's benefits in that, believing in no God. You understand what I'm saying? Because then they can get a fresh start and say, oh, wow. But now she knows about the God of Israel, because it's the God of Israel that got her to America when nobody in China, all her friends tell them, ain't no way you leaving China. There ain't no way you getting out. This is a communist country. You can't get out. You don't even meet all the criteria to get out of China. How they going to let you go to America? Sure enough, she went before the board. You see, because they don't, in China, if you want to leave, you got to go before a board of men that will ask you all kind of questions and want to know why you want to leave the country and go to America, via travel, whatever it may be. You want to go, vacation, whatever. You got to go through this board. You don't just do like we do. You apply for a visa online. Get a visa to go to any country you want to. Do you see the difference? And all her friends tell her, oh, there's no way you going to America. And that's why I told her, honey, you got to keep this hush hush. You can't tell many people. You see, because you don't need that negative energy around you. You see? Because all that negative energy around her, then she'll begin to start doubting. You get what I mean? If she, oh girl, you ain't going nowhere, they'll start heckling her and making fun. Oh, she thinks she going to America. But now, like I told her the other day, hey honey, who has the last laugh now? Where you at right now? And they over there in China right now, do you know they're doing load sharing over there in China? They're cutting the power. Power's being cut. There's power that's being cut. They're load sharing. They have to, they can't keep the power on because they can't get a hold of enough coal. Take care of those billion plus people over there in China. So people are going weeks without power. Can you imagine that? They're going prehistoric over there in China. Look at the luxury that she has. Yeah, we had a storm the other day. Power may have went out for like 5 seconds. Oh, let's just say 5 minutes. It came back on. I say, see, honey, she understands not by what I say so much, but she sees the doings of the powers of Israel. And I told her before she left China, I said, you know what? Let all them people say what they want to say, but you're going to see the power of the God of Israel, and you're going to be in America. And guess what she is? Why, Brother Davis? Because I picked from that apple, and I picked, and whatever I imagined it was, and I imagined my wife in America, and she is. You see it? You get it? Baruch Hashem. Why? It's because that was an important factor for me to establish my house. Is that, I can't be in my house as a bachelor pad. I look at the bed. That house, I can't be in the house as a bachelor pad. No, there got to be a family involved with it. Because understand, Jacob is a family. So Kefa is a family. Jacob begat 12 sons. I'm starting. I got one. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Do you see? You understand it? Y'all with me, Mr. Bahat? It's beautiful, isn't it? But it's all about the family. So my wants were definitely in line with what the God of Israel wanted. For all of humanity is to build your house and establish your house on a solid foundation. And being single is not establishing your house on a solid foundation, Mr. Bob, by the way. You're single. Well, Rabbi, I just want to single and mingle my whole life. No. That's not our heritage. That's not how we do business. As Hebrews, as descendants of the Hebrews, as Israelites, we multipliers. We're not one. We're one of many. And then that many makes one. Then we become one. You get it? So we need to understand that going forward. Is that, we have to understand Bereshit is all about house, about houses and relationship and establishing your house and working your yard and picking from your tree what you desire. Why do you think we're being taught this is a paradigm shift from whatever? Ain't nobody else teaching, and I'll excuse my syntax, but there ain't nobody else teaching about manifestation. Name me another rabbi that's teaching about how to manifest, how you can have what you want, how you can meet your desires, how you can live in the beginning mode, which is peace, love, joy, and happiness mode. You can live that, and how heaven is right now. And nobody teaching us about this. Nobody else is teaching this. They don't care. They worry about, oh well, let's break down why this happened in the Bible. No, what's happening in your family is more important. Is your family happy? If I look at your son, is he happy? If I look at your daughter, is she happy? If I look at your wife, is she content and is she happy? That's important. That's important to me, man. I more important than anything, I want to keep my wife happy. And I'll do anything within my power to keep my wife happy. That's why I'm always asking, what do you want? What do you want? She tells me what she wants, and I'll make it happen. And now she asks a lot. She understands, yeah, he's going to do everything within his power to manifest this thing and bring it forward to me, Baruch Hashem. And that's the beauty of it. Because she knows her place, I know my place. I know what I'm supposed to do. I know my responsibilities as the head of the house. And I'm not trying to be chauvinistic, women. How many women in the room? I'm not trying to be so chauvinistic, women, but you all understand is that the man, that's my role. I got to run the house. I got to be the head of the house. And that's a high responsibility. And I got to keep my queen happy as the king. Because, listen, if the wife wants to be called queen, then who's the king? Me. The king has responsibilities and duties that need to be performed on a daily. And I'm going to see to that. And I'm going to do it in a loving way, and I'm going to do it with compassion. And I'm going to do it with loving kindness, and I'm going to do it with joy, and I'm going to do it full of peace, full of love, Baruch Hashem. And that's what we see here. Let's look at our holy books and read from our from our holy books in the book of Bereshit, in the beginnings. And keep in the back of your mind the house factor. Look at Genesis chapter 2. Now, Genesis chapter 1 is all about what? Manifesting. That's what it's all about. Calling forth. If the Most High did it, then I'm going to do it. Why? Because I have the DNA of El Shaddai. You want to sit here and talk about, well, we need to pray. No, we need to manifest and meditate and bring it in and call it forth. I've been through that mumbo jumbo with Catholicism and Christianity, speaking in tongues, blah, 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 never manifested me nothing. How many of you spoke in tongues at one time? Put up a T. You went through that whole dog and pony show. Yeah, shabba shabba do and shabba shabba. That never manifested me anything. I just got a tired jaw, right, Hadassah? My jaw got a little bit tired. Never manifested me a dang on thing in my life. You see? Right, Nehemiah? Oh, can anybody interpret that? Hell no, you can't interpret that gobbledygook. That's a bunch of gobbledygook, right? That never manifested me anything. We going back to these forever ways. In the beginning ways. In the beginning, Adam wasn't speaking in tongues, Mishpahah. Adam was not speaking in no tongues. Shoot. You leave that stuff alone, man. It never got me anywhere. And I have to see, listen, I need to see some results. And when I wasn't seeing no results, it was time to move on. And I appreciate that about my father. Man, we hopped and skipped from church to church to church, from denomination, because there was no results. So my father always had us moving from one place to another church, because he just wasn't satisfied. You know what I mean? I appreciate that about him. He just didn't stay put and say, okay, well, I guess it is what it is, and we just going to have to deal with this. No. My father was a seeker. And I'm carrying on that mantle. My father was a seeker, and I found, And I brought it to him in such a way, but he wasn't ready for it. He didn't receive it. He wasn't ready for it, but he respected that, when I told him, I said, Pop, we the people of the books. He's like, huh? He's like, Pop, you see all these Jews in Houston? I say, no, they're not the real people. You are. You and I are. We the real people of the books. And so I talk to him. Every time I talk to him, I say shalom. And guess how my pop will respond? He say shalom. He say shalom, son. He respected, where I was going and what I found. Just like I respected that he stayed with, the system that his wife wanted. I don't know what they, Episcopalian. I don't know what they were, but it's one of those religions out there. He hung in there with his wife, and that's what he did. I respect that. And I picked up that mantle. So we see, Bereshit chapter 1 is all about creation and calling forth. More importantly, to reel it in, to call it forth, to bring it forth, to bring it into existence and reality. Just by what? Speaking it. And it was. See, Brother Davis, our Hebrew characters are powerful. If anybody want to learn how to pray, if you're on YouTube and you're listening, or you're on Facebook and you're listening, you want to learn how to pray, begin to chant the ancient language. Begin to chant it. Begin to chant the ancient language. Begin to chant it. Just the letters. You don't have to say, you have to learn Hebrew. Just begin to look at the characters and begin to repeat them in your meditations. Didn't our Kohen teach us this? Isn't he teaching us this? Begin. Those words are powerful. Begin with the Aleph and just begin to repeat it over and over and over again. This is meditation. This is prayer. This is foundational prayer that will never fail you. Think about that for a minute. So we look at Bereshit, we look at Genesis chapter 2. I'm going to read starting at verse 7 of Genesis chapter 2 from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. And Yahweh Elohim formed Ha'adam from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And Ha'adam became a living soul, Baruch Hashem. And breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, that force. If you look at the last book of the book of Deuteronomy, you'll see in it that the Torah mentions about Moshe talks about his life force. his life force. You remember, you hear how Kohen sometimes he'll say this. He'll say, may the force be with you. That's real. For you Star Wars love, I'm a big Star Wars lover. I understand that. It's about that force, that energy. It's that force. And how Adam became a living soul. End of verse 7. Look at verse 8 of chapter 2 of Bereshit of Genesis. And Yahweh Elohim planted a garden eastward in Eden. And he led Adam there, whom he had formed. You see? Look at verse 9. And look again, it planted a garden. There's that garden. There's your yard. Planted that garden. Gotta have a house, you gotta have a yard. Well, who's the house? Adam is the house. And there's the garden right there. Baruch Hashem. In the beginnings. Look at verse 9. And Yahweh Elohim transplanted and caused to grow every etch that was pleasant to the sight and good for food. See, pleasant to the sight. What are you imagining? What do you see? What do you see? What do you envision pulling off that tree? What do you see? This will be. Whatever you see, be. See, be. See, be. Think about it that way. Whatever you see will be. What are you seeing right now? A lot of people are not seeing so many good things. And guess what's being? Good things. No good things are being. Because that's what they see. So it's important to start to see not with your two eyes, but with the third eye. So you can begin to see. And our Kohen is teaching us that as well, about the third eye. Baruch Hashem, that third eye is powerful, isn't it? Begin to see. Look at verse 9 of Genesis 2. And Yahweh transplanted and caused to grow every tree that was pleasant to the sight and good for food. That's important to understand. And the tree of life also was in the middle of the garden, and the etz of knowledge of good and evil, Baruch Hashem. There's a tree. That important tree amongst the other trees was a tree. So I want you all to begin to imagine in your visualizations a tree and what you're plucking from it. Is it a money tree? Is it a success tree? Is it a relationship tree? Woman tree? Man tree? What are you plucking from it? And then just bite from it and see it. And that's what it will be. See it and it is. But not will be. See it and it is. Because that's just truly how it goes down. So we see the garden factor. We're doing this yard talk. So we got the yard. We got the house. And now so I want you all to understand that. But now I want to jump down because I'm getting ready to close here in a little bit. I want to jump down to Genesis chapter 6. We see all these good things going on. We know what happens. You all know what happens with the relationship that went on in the garden and that important tree that they were commanded not to eat from, and they did. They were told not to eat from, and they did. This is why it's important for you to understand this, is that within your house, within your yard, there has to be structure, and there has to be law and order, because without law and order, there's chaos. So you must have structure and you must have laws, and those laws must be obeyed. And when those laws aren't obeyed, there's always some issue that's going to come up. And I'll tell you, I know when I was growing up, we had the rod of correction. I was too fearful of my pop because I was, I didn't want to get, whipped, spanking, beat down. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want it to happen. After experiencing it, I realized this is not an experience I want to go through anymore. So I began to correct myself and understand that, okay, I have to follow certain laws. And when I come out of that structure, then it gets chaotic. And we see that today. When the nucleus of the family is broken, there's chaos. There's destruction on many different levels. And it has lasting effects if it's not changed, if it's not repaired, if it's not fixed. You see? You Israelites, you descendants of the Hebrews, we have to fix that pattern. We have to fix that pattern so that our children, our children's children, and we have to help them and make sure they understand that as well, is that pattern must be fixed. No more broken model, right? So the calling forth is a great thing, is a good thing. The bringing forth of the family is a good thing. The Most High says it's not good for man to be alone. It was not good for Adam to be alone. So again, it's all about relationships. You can't just have a relationship with yourself. That's why I say that single model just doesn't work. That's not our model. You don't see how Dom, living in a bachelor pad and saying, okay, well, yeah, I'm just going to, be out here and I'm just going to do my own thing and I'm just be single and just mingle. No. You have to establish the home establishment. Now, all that took place. We understand what happened with Lilith. We understand that the new wives came on board. And then the multiplication began to multiply. You began to, begat. The begatting took place. I want to jump down to the closing of the parsha here, the Bereshit parsha, the first parsha. I want to go all the way down to Genesis chapter 6. I want to read that. I want to start reading from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible in verse 3. And Yahweh said, my ruach, my spirit shall not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. Look at verse 4. And there were Nephilim, of the fallen ones, on the earth in those days, and also afterwards, when the sons of Elohim came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, men of name. Look at verse 5. And Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great upon the earth, and that his every intent of thought. Listen to this part right here. That the wickedness of man was great on the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart were only evil continually. You see, what are you thinking? A thought. You see, the Most High, this is why it's so powerful that we understand. Is that, how powerful we are as human beings. But if we don't control our thought, my goodness, we can wreck our whole experience in this journey. What are you thinking about? This is why we need to change all that. And our Kohen's teaching us how to change all that. We thinking about what we want. We thinking about what we desire. We're not thinking about, okay, well, how am I pay that bill or I'm getting laid off. You see, because as you think, you will be. And Torah specifically brings this out right here in Genesis chapter 6, verse 5, that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. What does that evil mean? Well, you're not a positive energy. You're not looking positive on life. You have a negative outlook on life. Negative. And do you see people like that today? Just with a total negative outlook on life. Negative. That's all they know is negativity. They get around you. They want to start to begin to, slander or rumor about just negative stuff. Nothing positive. Running down and shooting down everybody. Complaining about everything. I know folks just like that. So what I have to do is just flip the script. I don't just walk away from them, but I begin to infuse the positive. I say, well, hey, what's the blessing in this? Because every situation, there's good in every situation. You got to just dig deep sometime for it. They're like, what do you mean there's good in this? What do you mean? See, because they don't know any better. They're ignorant to the fact that they can be positive, and they don't have to think only evil continually, Baruch Hashem. As we see there in Genesis chapter 6, verse 5. Look at Genesis chapter 6, verse 6. And Yahweh took pity, nevertheless, observing man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. Look at verse 7. So Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man, the beast, the crawling things, and the birds of the air. For it is a pity that I have made them. And then look at verse 8 of Genesis chapter 6. But Noah found favor in the eyes of Elohim. This is what I want you to see with this particular passage as I get ready to close. As we look at the house. Is that even the Most High. Now, do you not think, look, you read the commentary in the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, give you great commentary. Do you not think the Most High knew that this was going to happen? I mean, come on, he already knew all this was going to happen. But for us to see how it's played out here, that you see the good with the bad. The happy with the sad. You see the evil with the good. Do you see the balance that's there? That loving kindness there. At the same time, there's judgment coming. You see what I'm saying? And that's how we need, remember I talked about earlier, having that balance in your life. Is that you cannot be too judgmental, but at the same time, you cannot be show too much loving kindness. Because how many of you realize this, is that people will take advantage of your kindness? How many of you understand that? They will see your kindness as a weakness, and they will try to exploit that. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. You help one person out one time, and guess what? They continue to come back to the well and try to run the well dry, and they can't, but they'll try to. Is that people will take advantage of your kindness. This is why you have to balance that out with judgment. You want to hear a real life example of that? Kohen gave you one in his lecture, didn't you? With that man. He showed him loving kindness and said, "Hey, sir, can you get away? Can you not be disturbing to me and my family?" You see, when it comes to my family, that's one thing you don't do, Mishpah, is don't mess with a Hebrew's family. Because you'll see Simba turn into Lion King real quick. That's one thing you don't do, Mishpah. And now you really don't mess with my wife and don't mess with my son. Then you don't do those two things right there, because then you're gonna see little Simba turn into Lion King and bite your freaking head off. That's what you're gonna see. So again, you have to have that happy balance between what? Loving kindness and compassion, and you also have to balance it out with judgment. And sometimes you have to whoop out a can of whoop ass on some people. You know what I mean? And that's what Kohen did. He gave him the hand. Kohen said, he gave the man the hand of judgment. He gave the man the hand of the Kohen, Baruch Hashem. And sometimes that's required. And that's all about a hefty balance. And we all need that balance in our life. And the Most High has given us a great example. Yeah, there's a lot of wicked men and evil men in the world, but look, here's this good man over here, right standing man, that AN man, that Noach, that upright man. You see, what is Noach? What does Noach begin with? The letter what? Nun. Noach, huh? What is that Nun? I think me and Brother David was talking about that Nun. That cup, that overflowing cup, overflowing with the living waters of the Most High, overflowing with right ruling and uprightness, Baruch Hashem, and just doing things right, overflowing with that. Just giving you that and some. And this is what the Most High saw in Noach. So Noach found favor with the Most High. Whilst all these other men were out there just wilding out, to say the least, just wilding out over here. So you see loving kindness and you see judgment, and you have to balance that out. So when you make your decision, it's based on not just total annihilation, but seeing, okay, let me just deal with these people, but I can't destroy the whole world. I got to save somebody. Why not save those that are upright? And Noach found favor with the Most High because he was overflowing with right rulingness, or what they say, maybe righteousness or whatever. We're just doing right and wanting to live right, Baruch Hashem, and wanting to meet his desires. That's Noach, man. Noach, I keep telling Christians all the time, man, Noach wasn't a Christian. Noach wasn't a Catholic either when he got off the boat. Come on now. But they want to continue in their new ways, as they call it, New Testament, and we're going to stay in the forever ways. We're going to stay in the beginning ways, in the Bereshit ways. So on that note, I think I'll wrap it up for this Shabbat. And I'll say Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom to all of you, Mishpah. We're going to wrap it up. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to wrap it up for this Shabbat. And, okay. Yeah, I'm talking about Kohen. I love you and I leave you in the mighty hands of the Most High. And I want you to continue on to press on. And my desire is that this lecture kind of brought some insight to what's really important at the end of the day and where your focus really needs to be. Because the Most High dwells in a house. You see, he don't dwell in the temple. He dwells in your house and my house. And what are our houses? Wherever we go. So even if we leave our house, the Most High is with us because we carry our house with us. We are the house. Baruch Hashem. That's just yard talk. We just doing some yard talk today or some garden talk, Baruch Hashem. So I give thanks to all of you. You know what? You guys have a marvelous Sukkot festival of tents, and enjoy your festival tomorrow. And just remember, and remember the mighty God that we serve and the protection that we do have. And we do have, we the untouchables. Nobody's going to touch God's people. You're not going to mess with them. And that's real. And so let's celebrate that. Celebrate the fact that our forefathers established booths and built tents as they wandered in the wilderness. What is that symbolic of? That we always have a covering over us, no matter where we are, no matter where we're wandering. You covered. You covered. You covered. They're better than Allstate, better than AAA and all that put together. We covered. We're always covered. Baruch Hashem. So I give thanks always for our upright way of living. Baruch Hashem. And I say Shabbat Shalom, Shalom, Shalom to all of you, Mishpachah. I'm going to go make the necessary preparations, Baruch Hashem. I give thanks to all of you, Mishpachah. Shabbat Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.